proper role of government in economic development and what we can do at the local level. There is something to be said for starting a business from scratch. Now, my parents were retired school teachers, so I had a bunch of family money, all $80 of it, when I started a business. And now I have a thriving enterprise with nearly 100 employees. And there is something to be said for signing the front of a paycheck, like so many people in this room do, and balancing a budget, and being paid last. We know what that is like. So the proper role, in what we do in Texas rather well, is reasonable, predictable regulation, low taxes, limited government. It's a great formula. And we need to stay out of folks' way. Chapter 380 of the Local Government Code talks about, and allows 4A, 4B, EDCs, and CDCs. I came off of city council for 3 years. It was a great tool to use. The governor's office has an Office of Economic Development with the Texas Enterprise Fund. So let me be clear. In theory, I have a problem with government picking winners and losers. But in practice, if we're going to be surrounded by states that are doing it, to have balance and have a level playing field, we should and must compete. That's why I've always been supportive of the Texas Enterprise Fund, specifically because of that. And I'd like to be very crystal clear here, that is sprinkles. It's not the cake. The cake is the reasonable regulation, the low taxes, the limited government, the business-friendly nature of our legislature. That's why California businesses are coming here, Illinois and New York. And that's what we need to maintain and continue on with. Property taxes. Property taxes, you have inflation at 3 or 4%. And our property taxes are going up 8 or 10%. Clearly, that's out of balance. I supported the governor's proposal to go from 8% to 4% to trigger an election. We want to talk about local control. The best local control is you, to be able to approve that. I did throw an amendment on that said if an election like that passed, that the state should pay for the election, because then it wouldn't be an unfunded mandate. And the governor now has an idea where it's going to be 2.5%. I'd like to drill down into that a little bit more. I like it's promising. And then in a census year, maybe we just appraise every 10 years. This is an idea that I have. And then just adjust over that decade for inflation. And then we have that predictability and certainty. 5 years ago, I called my old Air Force colonel, Howard T. Hansen. And I said, sir, I'd been elected to the state house in Texas. And he said, Pat, I love Texas. Texas is what America used to be and can be again. And after campaigning in this great district for 250 straight days, 14 hours a day, every day, meeting thousands of people, I can tell you he was right. Because I've met thousands of people that believe in things that are greater than themselves, that God is greater, that our country is greater, that Texas, our communities, our families, our friends are greater than we are. And when you lead a life like that, that is a life very well lived. This election ends in 500 or 481 hours, but who's counting? I would love your support and your vote to be a strong voice for Parker County. And the Olympics have given me a 10 out of 10, so thank you. God bless you, and God bless Parker County.
It has been my pleasure to be your state senator. These last 16 years, we've had a lot of success and for Parker County, and it's been my pleasure to serve with Representative Phil King, a great leader down there. Question number 1, what is your funding solution? Well, first of all, let's zero in on your. Nobody I don't think has a magic bullet. We have a special committee studying it, and there's ideas that are all over the map. But let me tell you what it will come down to if we're successful, and I really do feel like we can be successful. And that is, the state is just going to have to step up more funding from the General Revenue Fund. It's gone from the 60% down to about 38% over the last 3 decades. So that's unacceptable, and obviously that is one of the big reasons that we're having pressure on our property taxes. Now, we have a little deal called the Economic Stabilization Fund, the Rainy Day Fund. It's supposed to be for an economic rainy day. We have about $12 billion in that fund. The state representative that is now retired that started that said we never had any idea it would have that. And it's 98% funded by oil and gas severance taxes. Might we dip into that? We might, but it's a very high bar. It's 2/3 of each chamber, House and Senate, and then approval by the governor. We've dipped in it for roads, we've dipped in it for water infrastructure, we've dipped in it to balance the budget, but we need to be careful on that. But might that be a possibility? It might. Thanks for the questions about economic development. Let me tell you, I'm the second most senior member, Republican member in the Texas Senate, and my chairmanship is natural resources and economic development. You know, there's a lot of people out there that say, well, we ought to be, the government ought to be out of the economic development business. And I say that's fine if all other 49 states want to unilaterally disarm. But it would put us at a very severe disadvantage if we did not play the game. And, but the real point of the matter is to make sure we do it properly and we don't over incentivize for something like the second headquarters of Amazon or something like that. But what tools do we have? I worked real hard this last session on what's called a hot tax. There were 23 different communities in the state. It's a hotel occupancy tax to use to fund something like a convention center. And some people thought that was a bad idea. You know, nobody likes it when you go to a hotel and you go, okay, this, and this, and there's that old hot tax on there. But it is an economic development tool. But one of the things I'm very proud of is that how are we doing? Oh, boy. I'm very proud of is the fact that we limited it to 2 years if you're not moving dirt. It's limited, and so it goes away, you have to reapply. The real solution for economic development is cutting taxes. And I've been a leader in the idea of eliminating the business franchise tax. I file that thank you. Now, maybe some of you pay it, maybe a lot of you don't, but you pay experts to tell you whether you do pay it or not. So, we need to reform the appraisal process. I was a part of the group that I'm running low, aren't I? Part of the group when we lowered your taxes from $1.50 to $1. I didn't see much savings because we didn't work on the appraisal process. Let me close by saying it has been absolutely my privilege to be your senator for the last 16 years. I have a sterling conservative record. I'm endorsed by the Texas Association of Business, NFIB, every business group that you can imagine. I would humbly request your vote on March 6th. God bless.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Mike. I'm Mark Riley, County Judge. This race is about experience. Make no mistake about it. Those of you who are in business for yourself, and most of you are, I don't believe you'd wake up one morning, look in the mirror, and say, you know, my business is extremely successful. Everything across the board is successful, and I'm happy with it. We have money in the bank. Our bond rating has gone up, which Parker County has gone up to AA+. You're not going to look in that mirror and then say, you know, my manager's been with me 20 years. That's too long. So I think I'm going to go fire my manager and hire somebody inexperienced. There's not a business person around that would do that. My top priority is to continue building upon the success we've had. We have one of the lowest tax rates in the state of Texas among 254 counties. 87% have a higher tax rate. We work diligently and hard to keep it at that. I'll continue to build upon the success we've had with transportation, partnerships locally, and throughout the region. I'll continue to support the improved response time we've had with the Sheriff's Department through his management and advanced technology that has helped save personnel costs. Flip that over. The county's responsibility to residents inside city limits. It's not any different than it is to residents who don't live in a city. Everybody has to be treated equally. We can't pick winners and losers. We have to treat everybody equally. So what does that mean at the county level? Well, first of all, we're not the federal government doling out money at every turn. But what it means is county government and city government is totally different. They don't even operate the same way. And county government works under the Constitution and statutes. And those responsibilities come first and foremost above any want that we have. In regard to taxes and constitutional responsibilities, Your general fund property taxes do not cover unfunded mandates from the state of Texas. But we continue to keep that tax rate low, and through conservative budgeting, we're able to make up that difference. The county's role in economic development, again, fairness. We cannot pick winners and losers, especially at the county level. I can understand why cities get competitive. I understand that. But if the county gives one city money or participates in one abatement, then every city that has a need is going to come and say, do for us too. Think about what that would do to your tax rate. It will bloom. I'm opposed to retail tax abatements in prime retail areas such as I-20. Tax abatements were not meant to be used in areas like that. They were meant to be used in blighted areas where a community could not get a grocery store in a place or even light manufacturing. And there's a distinct difference between a rebate for retail development and light manufacturing that truly provides some consistent jobs, not just hourly. What ideas to make Park County tax dollars work harder and save taxpayer money? My record is clear. We already have low taxes. We work at it. We continue to look for ways to improve those opportunities. One of the ways we did that with the jail, we have a management contract. And the first year we went into that management contract, the taxpayers saved about $650,000 to $700,000 because that partnership with private enterprise, they can do things differently. If they need to buy green beans, they don't have to go out for a bid. That corporation can get on the phone and their purchasing agent can negotiate those prices. The other way that we've saved a lot of money, I was able, through my partnership in the region, to get Parker County in the Public Employee Benefits Co-op, which is health insurance. Prior to that, we were paying about $250,000 in commissions and fees. It's a co-op made up of Tarrant County, Dallas County, City of Dallas, Denton. We're the smallest county in it. It's not a pool in that we are thrown into the pool with their claims. We have our own pool. It's strictly us, but it's saved us a tremendous amount of money. Those are just a few examples of how our conservative approach to county government is working for you. I'd appreciate your vote.
I brought a stopwatch, so I want to be sure I cover these things correctly and have enough time adequately to cover these. I want to jump right into it. But first, thank you for coming. Thanks for the opportunity for this. I'm really eager to get into these questions and address these in the appropriateness of them and the importance of these. Number one, if elected, what will be your top priority? As I said before in the paper that has been printed time and time again, is to work with our county sheriff, give him the resources that they need to get those response times down, whether they're 27 minutes and you hear 13 minutes and all that. Fort Worth is 5 minutes. Weatherford is 5 minutes. Hudson Oaks is 3 minutes, although a smaller town. But the people in the rural community should not suffer because you decide not to live in a city. Those response times need to be a critical priority. So my focus would be, number one, is to work with the county sheriff, give him the resources that he needs and that department needs, and getting also crime down as we grow. Number two, what is the county's responsibility to residents who live inside the city limits? I think my opponent a lot of times forgets that if you're in the city, you still pay county taxes. It's not the county's responsibility to pay for city services. But when those services entwine into the county and also the city, they need to participate, such as the library and also the animal shelter. Okay, but it is not the intent of the county to pay for city services. Number three, what is the county's role in economic development? The county really eagerly gets the 50.5 cents that the cities work so hard for, and I know we got some city officials in here, Sharon Hayes and others, that really focus on economic development. And Patrick, I know we've done a lot in Hudson Oaks with that. 0.5 cent goes to the county, okay? That should be reinvested to a degree, or at least have a policy when they had a discussion with the tax increment reinvestment zone, the TERS that we talked about, we read in the paper so long, rather than just saying no and just stop the discussion right there, at least have a discussion on it and have a policy of when that might be an option for us to do. And that's to bring high-wage jobs to the community, light industrial, where we can put those out in certain areas where we have the capacity to do that and not affect the rural integrity and identity of Parker County. That's very, very important, at least have that. And one of the best examples I can give you, if you've been to Granbury and you saw the square downtown, we can do the same thing here in terms of how we do that, because instead of the county buying the bank building, putting county vehicles in there and putting county employees in there, we could revitalize that downtown area and have economic development opportunities and have sales tax rather than putting taxes on your back. They had an opportunity to get $500,000 profit in the first year and turn that down. Okay, we need to go in there and look at that, and one of the crux of that is, not only did they do that when they bought it, it took $40,000 off the tax roll on your back. We need to have a bigger vision and a better vision for economic development and how we work. I also agree we don't need to just debate everything, but I will say this, that there, like for example, when we did the H-E-B store in Hudson Oaks, and this was discussed last night in a candidate forum, we only spent, and it was made $3 million. That was not paid by the city of Hudson Oaks. We partnered with the local community and the businesses to bring that store to Hudson Oaks. But we partnered with the community on getting that in there for roughly $300,000 to $500,000. And anybody will tell you to bring a H-E-B to Parker County for that kind of money and not cripple you. We have a rock-solid foundation of sustainability in Hudson Oaks that exists today getting H-E-B. Number 4, what ideas do you have to make Parker County tax dollars work harder and save taxpayers money? You know, look, let's just be clear here. 60 seconds. I thought I was doing better than that. Okay, let's be clear here. I mean, the first thing I'm going to do is sit down with the commissioners and the employees and learn from them and get their input on how we can be more efficient in government, and get their ideas of what can we do and unify them together and have a better working environment. And we have 2 commissioners here I would be happy to work with, George Conley and also Commissioner Dugan. And Commissioner Conley, I want to take this opportunity at this time. I want to thank you for your endorsement to me. You recognize that, yes, experience is important, but change is equally important and more important when we can do a better job in certain areas that we can do. Thank you very much for that, and I want to ask you for your vote. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Jerry Buckner, and I am the elected judge of County Court Law Number 1. My question is, tell us about your experience in family, criminal, and civil litigation. And given the breadth of the cases that come before your court, why do you believe you're the most qualified? Well, to begin with, I've been doing this job for 11 years. That's some experience. I got some more experience this morning. But 95% of the cases that come through my court are criminal law and family law cases. I've been board certified in criminal law for 40 years. 40 years now for criminal law. I've been board certified in family law for 35 years. For 10 years, I was a felony prosecutor in district court trying felony cases. Then for 27 years, I had a very successful private law practice in Weatherford where I tried all kinds of cases. But let me tell you about being board certified in any field of law. First of all, you have to make an application, and that's screened by committee to see if you're even eligible to take the test. Then about 5% of all the lawyers in the state apply. Only about half of them can pass the test. There were 2 really good family law attorneys that applied to be board certified in family law, and I gave them a high recommendation, and their application was accepted. They flunked the test. Both of them did. 2 years in a row. It's hard to get board certified. So I'm proud to be board certified in both criminal law and family law. So let's talk about civil litigation. For 27 years, I had a private practice in Weatherford, and I tried everything that walked through the door. I've tried medical malpractice cases in federal district court, personal injury cases in Kansas, oil and gas cases in Oklahoma, and I've tried over 500 jury trials to a jury verdict before becoming a judge in all different areas of the law. Hudson Oaks is a city that's, I think, near and dear to all of us, but you may not know it, but it wouldn't exist today without me. Because when Hudson Oaks incorporated, they made a big mistake. And the city attorney of Weatherford, the county attorney, and the district attorney all jumped on Hudson Oaks to bust their incorporation articles. I went to the best municipal law attorney I could find and asked him would he help me with this case because they hired me to represent him and defend Hudson Oaks. He said, "No, I've been following this case, and you can't win. So I don't want any part of it." Well, I don't give up. And Hudson Oaks exists today because we've won in the Supreme Court. So yeah, I've got experience in civil law too. My second question is, do you feel it's the judge's job to interpret the law strictly or strictly apply the law? And in applying the law, what sources do you think are most relevant? Absolutely a strict appliance to the law. I don't put my spin on anything. The law that we go by is the black letter law that's written in the statutes that the legislature gave us. That's the law that you go by. Then there's appellate court cases that do their best to interpret what that law means when there are conflicts in the questions of fact. So I read the law that's written by the legislature and the case law, make my ruling, and I don't make too many mistakes. I'd like your vote. Thank you for your time and attention.
I am Curtis Jenkins. I'm a candidate for Judge, County Court at Law Number 1. Your first question deals with experience. Now, I'm not going to stand up here and tell you that I have all the years of experience that Jerry Buckner does, because I don't. I've only been a lawyer 23 years. But I have plenty of education, experience, and I have the right temperament to take good care of the court starting January of next year and then moving forward into the future. I've got a bachelor's degree in psychology and a law degree from the University of Texas at Austin. I've done some graduate school, some teaching, done some writing. I understand what it's like to be a student, a teacher, a husband, a father, a lawyer, and a judge. I also understand what it's like to be a working man, because I've done retail, I've framed houses, and I've bottled a whole lot of antifreeze one summer for Dow Chemical. I graduated from UT Law School in 1994. I've got 10 years' experience as a prosecutor. I helped found a law firm on the square in Weatherford, and I was municipal court judge for the city of Aledo for a couple years. In 2008, I became a staff attorney with the Second Court of Appeals. I was in my 7th year at the court when Judge Ben Akers passed away, and I was appointed to replace him at County Court at Law Number 2. I held that position for a little over 2 years. A close runoff in the 2016 primary sent me back to my roots as a prosecutor, and that's what I'm doing now down in Granbury. That's why I was a little late getting up here. That's a whole lot of fun, and I enjoy it, but I believe we're all put here to find out what it is that we do best, and then to do that, and do it with passion. I know from my experience as a judge that serving you as judge is what I do best, and it's what I have the passion to do. It's what I feel I was put here to do. As judge of County Court at Law for over 2 years, I did the same job that I'm running for now. I've handled civil litigation, criminal cases, family law cases, CPS cases, everything that I'd be doing in County Court at Law Number 1, except with the exception of condemnation cases, which I have some experience with from my days in private practice, and I am familiar with what is involved. Moreover, my time at the Court of Appeals as a staff attorney has uniquely prepared me to handle any case that comes to this court. The Court of Appeals handles 99% of the appeals from all the district courts and the county courts at law in a 12-county area, and that includes Parker County. The job of a staff attorney is to help the appellate court judge decide whether the district court judge or the county court at law judge in the case that's on appeal had followed the law or whether they hadn't. Now, our motto as a staff attorney at the Court of Appeals is really pretty straightforward: just follow the law. But the issue in this race is not who has the most experience. He does. The issue in this race is who should lead the court from January, which is almost a year from now, then for another 4 years into the future. My education, experience, and my temperament qualify me to do that and to do it well. But what makes me the best choice is the fact that I've not been in government for so long that I've forgotten that government exists to serve the people and not the other way around. And I have not been around too long to empathize with those folks that come into court, not knowing what's going on, not knowing what's going to happen to them next, not knowing how that person in black up in the bench is going to affect their lives for the rest of their lives. But that empathy that I have does not trump the will to do what is right, which for a judge means impartial application of the law to the facts, which leads me to your second question. Just what is the law? Is it just what a lawyer thinks it is or what somebody feels that it ought to be? No. Jefferson said, we're a nation of laws, not of men. Our law is written down. It's written down in a constitution, it's in a statute, it's in a rule, it's in a case law, in a case somewhere. It's written down somewhere. If you follow it, you can find it. And I've been trained for many years to just follow the law. Now, you generally don't get into the idea of interpreting the law at the trial court level as much as you do in the appellate court. And that's because most of the law we deal with at the trial court level is generally statutes or rules, and it's pretty straightforward. You read it according to the common meaning of the words, and you apply it as written to the facts of the case before you. Now, at the appellate level, it's where you might get more and more into interpreting the law. But again, even at the Court of Appeals, we go first with the plain meaning of the words. The best evidence of legislative intent is the text of that which was actually voted on and which was passed into law. You only start looking at other places when the plain meaning of the text is ambiguous or it's going to lead to absurd results, and that doesn't happen very often. When it does happen, you can look at how the law works with other laws, or you can look into the legislative history, which might have some printed discussions about the discussions on the floor when the law is being debated. But as I say, the whole area of interpreting the law is really more of an appellate thing than it is at trial court level. Trial court judge is more involved with determining what the facts are, applying the law that's written down to those facts. I read the law as it's written. Curtis Jenkins, got a passion for fairness, for doing what's right. Please vote for me so that I can do what I feel like I was meant to do. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lila Jean Deacle. I want to start off today talking a little bit about my qualifications. First of all, I'm a leader and I'm a manager. I'll bring over 20 years of sustained superior performance to the county clerk's office, leadership which I gained in serving over 20 years in the United States Navy and retiring as a Chief Petty Officer. I'm a decision maker. I will go with the hard, no, you can't do that, before I'll go the easy, oh, sure, yeah, let's do that. I will not, in any way or any means, allow the integrity of our records to be compromised. I have over 6 years in the county clerk's office, having worked in the civil and the criminal courts, as well as probate. I've also the deputy county clerk for Commissioner's Court, and now I am the administrative assistant. I work in the county clerk's office right now, and I'm keyed in to the daily routines, the goings and comings of the clerk's office. And once I'm elected, it will be a seamless transition. The county clerk's budget is 5 budget lines with of about $2.1 million. I've managed budgets as large as $60 million. And when I say I've managed the budgets of that size, it doesn't mean that I worked in a budgeting office or that I helped someone or I'm familiar with the budget processing. I implemented it. I followed it through till completion. Also, another one of my qualifications is continuing education. I have continuing education in probate courts. I also just recently completed Accounting 1 and 2, Human Resource Management, and Business Law. So I'm up to date on state and federal laws, and this is what I'll bring as my qualifications, and I think I'm the only candidate that can bring that type of varied experience to the clerk's office. My operational improvements is I like to get more aggressive with e-filing. We already e-file, however, I would like to go as paperless as possible and as far as the law and statutes would allow. This would also include Commissioner's Court. I don't know if you've ever seen goings and comings, but we have this huge bag of paperwork after Commissioner's Court. We've already begun that process, and I think we can go further with it. Of course, not everything can be paperless, but we could certainly cut down on our paper, and that would help us with our storage. Since credit cards and debit cards have recently been approved, I'd like to explore taking payments online. Believe it or not, people do leave Parker County. People leave and they need their marriage license or they need a death certificate. They need something. And it's days of mailing back and forth and research. But I believe we can explore this and make it a day in, day out, and still not violating the integrity of our records. I want to migrate more county records to an electronic format. That would improve searchability, and it would also complement transparency. I have a plan and a vision for the county clerk's office. I want to build on the solid foundation that is there now, and I want to be responsive to the county's rapid growth. I'll say this, Walsh Ranch, that's years of steady growth. My 3 things for the office is I want to ensure we're ready for the rapid growth, and I'll do this by reviewing all 4 offices, including staffing and budget, make reductions where I can, and I'll build on the technology that we already have. And I want to ascertain that our records department, by looking at their hours, if we could be more convenient for you to get there. And also, I would also like to look for more cost-effective ways and to be more user-friendly. If you'd like to know more about me or my family, please join me this Saturday at 9:30 at the Parker County Coffee Company, and I'd be happy to share my visions with you. Again, I am Lila Deacle, and I'm your candidate for Parker County Clerk.
Excuse me. Thank you, Kit. Again, my name is Paula Durant, and I'm running for Parker County Clerk. I've spent most of my working career in customer service-related positions. I worked in the county clerk's office for 5 years, and I spent the last 3 years as probate auditor for the county. I started as a civil clerk, and I quickly moved up to positions of greater responsibility. And I'm familiar with every aspect of the county clerk's office: civil and criminal matters, probate, guardianships, and the ever-growing mental health cases. I also spent time in the record deed department where all the land records are filed. That's also where the birth, death, marriage licenses are maintained, as well as the brand registrations. My marriage license is there. I've been married for 25 years. As long as my children were born here, their birth certificates are there. I am up to date on all the required reporting to the Office of Court Administration and retention record schedules. I not only was responsible for the transcribing, posting, and maintaining of the minutes for Commissioners Court, but I was also involved in the decision-making process on the current system that they use for that. Therefore, I have the behind-the-scenes knowledge of the entire process. I have the leadership qualities and temperament required to manage the 22 full-time employees of the clerk's office, and have been heavily involved in the budget process for the last 8 years. On the operational improvements, after speaking with several title companies, attorneys, real estate agents, and voters, I was made aware of some concerns. I will bring a unified process to the court clerks. Attorneys will be able to depend on consistency when it comes to e-filing their documents. With the county court at laws, there are clerks that assist in those. Of course, the judges maintain how their court is going to be run, but the paperwork, you won't be able to, there's things that are, when files are brought in, when they're e-filed in, the clerk has to go in, evaluate the files, reject them, accept them, and a concern of theirs is they don't know which one they're getting at which one. So I'd make sure there was a unified process for that. Everybody would be made aware of the statutes and laws that apply to their job so they would be more efficient. I will also provide cross-training to the clerks. There will no longer be one person who knows how to do any one particular job. Clerks will be made aware of and kept up to date on current statutes. This will be an improvement on efficiency. I will also keep certain office open to the public longer and possibly through lunch. The public needs to be able to do business when it's convenient for them. If I'm elected, top 3 priorities, and I'd like to elaborate on each one, is employees, efficiency, and excellence. Employees, happy employees are productive employees. I will have a true open door policy, and I will be a hands-on clerk and be a constant present at both office locations. I will do my best to make sure that each employee feels valued and important and safe. Efficiency is the ability to be productive using minimal time and resources. This will be done through education and training. Excellence, the ability to be outstanding. I will strive for excellence in a positive work environment. There's no reason why the clerk's office cannot be the best office in Parker County. One of the most important jobs when elected county clerk is being current and up to date on the reports that go to the office administration. The county can stand to lose funding if those are not handled properly. Another is proper handling of the courts registry. That's money that the clerk is ordered to keep track of. But just to be clear, that the clerk only acts in a custodial capacity, not as a trustee. The clerk is ordered by the court as to handle such funds. I will be available to you as well as my employees and act as a liaison between the courts, bail bondsmen, and attorneys. I'll be a constant presence. I'm passionate about these records and the lives that they represent, and my passion is what makes me stand out. The clerk's office is more than just another county office. It's the office that maintains and preserves all county records. These records deserve to be preserved for future generations, and I plan on being in the Parker County through my retirement. My family and heritage are here, so these records are not just important to me now, but forever. I believe I am by far the most qualified and experienced for this position. My personal cell phone number is on all my signs, cards, and flyers, and I'd love to share with you more details of my plans for the clerk's office, so please feel free to contact me. Again, my name is Paula Durant, and I'd be honored to have your vote for Parker County Clerk.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I would just first, Brian Lixie, running for Precinct 4 County Commissioner. I've lived in Parker County since 2006. I've been on Hudson Oak City Council about 7 years. The main reason I decided to run is I think we need a voice in Precinct 4. We need somebody that's going to stand up and fight for a larger portion of the budget for Precinct 4. Over the last 4 to 5 years, we've only seen an increase of about $300,000 in our road budget, while other precincts have had over $1 million increase. We also have another precinct in East Parker County that has had 20 miles of additional road added to their budget, but they haven't had any additional dollars for that. And I will be a strong advocate for fighting for Precinct 4 money for roadways for improvements. When it comes to responsibility to residents living inside the city limits, I think we've got to have seamless roadways, work with the local mayors, especially in the ETJs, any roads that are connecting with cities in the county. We have a road in Hudson Oaks that connects with Weatherford off North Oak Ridge, and that road was repaved last year, and we're now having to redo it again. There's no reason for us to be reinvesting money short term. That's a waste of county tax dollars. It's a waste of your tax dollars. When it comes to changes and need to occur in how the county and your precinct conducts business in Parker County, how it grows, talk about economic development. We have the single largest master plan development in the history of the United States that's going to be in East Parker County connecting with Tarrant County. You're going to have 50,000 potential people living in that part of Parker County and Tarrant. You're going to have 90 million square feet of retail space. And I think we need somebody that has the experience, the education, the background to handle that growth. No longer is the commissioner job a road commissioner. They change it county commissioner because it's evolved over the years, and there's much more involved with that. My opponent would have you believe that the people in the Walsh development are going to go to Fort Worth. They're going to spend their money in Fort Worth, they're going to shop in Fort Worth, they're going to work in Fort Worth, they're going to eat in Fort Worth. And I think we've got to find creative ways to bring those people to the Wilkes development, to the HEB that we've got, to I-20 in Weatherford where we have development all through, all new development coming in. Long term, 5, 10 years down the road, if we don't start addressing the roads in East Parker County and trying to bring those residents, those additional people to Weatherford, to Aledo, to the Wilkes development, we're going to be losing business. We're going to lose sales tax revenue. And I think for all the communities in East Parker County and Parker County in general, that's a tremendous amount of lost money that could be reinvested. How would I prioritize money obtained by the county for road and bridge projects? Sit down with all the local mayors, the city council members, hold public forums, find out what the communities want their roadways to look like, find out how we need to fix the roadways that we're having problems with, and get city input. It's imperative that you have people involved in the development of your community, not just your cities, but your county. And if we don't do that, we're going to be losing tax dollars long term. We're going to be losing residents long term. And long term, you're going to lose property values. I would ask for your vote to put a professional, business-minded person in Precinct 4 County Commissioner seat. Thank you.
Thank you. As the jobs, responsibilities of a county commissioner, number one is to prepare the budget for the precincts, road and bridge. In doing that, you should be just as responsible there as you are at the general fund. You prepare the budget for what you need and not extravagant. We don't need street lights and things out in the county. As we grow, and the county's going to stay the same size, but the cities are the ones that are growing and enlarging. They annex and can get bigger by annexation. We worked as a partnership with the cities, and actually the state tells us what a county commissioner is to do. His priorities are to do that road and bridge budget and to manage that budget and to oversee the road infrastructure in the county. When a city incorporates, they've told this county that they want to become taxing, possibly a taxing entity, but they want to enhance their lives in their community. And they get a different set of rules and playbooks. When they do that, they also take on the responsibility of their roads within their city, not the county. They do allow for us to work with an interlocal agreement and an addendum to the county can work with the cities to assist them with their road repairs. We've always offered our assistance with them. It goes to their city council for approval and the county's council approval. When it comes to budget for the precincts, Precinct 4 has always fought hard to get their share of the money without being extravagant. We could inflate our budget by big numbers and demand we get that much money just to be equal with the others, but it's a complicated system where you dice that money up, and it comes in three parts, mainly administration cost each precinct, material and the cost is the major factor that we all need, and also equipment and labor cost. Road mileage is one of the key factors, and also revenue is a key factor. We take in a large portion of revenue in Precinct 4, but we have the lowest road miles to maintain and responsible for by far. We have some precincts that are responsible for 400 miles of county road, where you got 187. The roads that are in private subdivisions, the roads that are state, roads that are city are not county responsibility. We do not get them on our inventory, and we don't get any funding considered for those roads. That's why it's a hard balance to equalize the share of the monies that go out there. Precinct 4 has the best roads in the county. I'm serious, you go drive out to other precincts, and I just called the other commissioners, and they'll tell you that we have a show place as far as the roads. We're getting adequate funding. The boogeyman may tell you we're not, but we are. As far as working for change, working with the cities, as the cities continue to grow, they're the ones that's really growing out. And yes, we do need to consult with them, work with them, every level. And just like we would any citizen out at the mailbox when you're driving down the road. Everybody's got a share in it. And when you're talking about county tax dollars serving the city, everybody that lives in the city still has all the same services, everybody out in the county, with maybe the exception of the roads. You're still going to use the judicial system, the county clerk's office, all the registration, all of those things are still accessible to you off your county tax dollar. I kind of get a little bit offended when you say we don't do a good job on the roads. Now, I get a little bit offended when we don't have enough education for you or professionalism. We have a professionalism in the court. We have a team effort down there, and I'd appreciate your vote. And if we're reelected, I'll continue to serve you well and to make sure that we adopt a reasonable budget and set the tax rate accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kit. And my name is Scott Utley, and I am running for Parker County Republican Chair. And in this particular forum, I'm kind of curious. How many people own a business? You own your own business. How many people that own their own business, have you ever had a franchise, or you've bought a franchise, or you've been part of a franchise? So generally when you have you buy a business, and you're buying a business, if you get a franchise, you're looking for a set way of doing business that has been proven. It's been proven across the country, it's been proven across your state or even your city, whatever it may be. And in that business, when you buy it, you're going to get your incorporation, help with incorporating, you're going to get handbooks, you're going to get literature, you're going to get marketing strategies, you're going to get all these different things. So for me, the Parker County Republican Party is nothing more than a franchise of the Republican Party of Texas. And the Republican Party of Texas is an extremely strong franchise, and it's got one heck of a brand. I don't think anybody in here will discount that. So for what I would like to do, and what's going through as I address your questions is, we need to look at our party, our county party, as being a franchise. The franchise has given us a handbook for county chairs. In that handbook for county chairs, it tells the county chair what it should and shouldn't do. It gives us outlines on transitioning county chairs. It gives us outlines on how to recruit precinct chairs. It gives us outlines on how to go about and grow the party. And from that, we have to deploy. And that's where I think I can do a very, very good job. So when you're looking at describe the duties of county chair, I do have my own business, and I have launched a franchise. So the duties of a county chair are you energize your base. You got to get the Republicans out to vote. And so as a business owner, I've got to get people to come out and buy my product. And so it's marketing, it's energizing. You've got to locate your voters. I mean, out here, how many people are under 40? All right. So so how are we going to? Well, yeah. So how? No, I want to see the birth certificate. But that's the case. That's where we're challenged. The fastest growing voter bloc is the millennials. How are we going to touch the millennials? How are we going to get the millennials into the Republican Party? How are we going to reach out to them? Zan has done a phenomenal job with our party. I'm not going to say she hasn't. And she goes out, she outreaches, she voter registrations. We're at Peach Festival, we're at Springtown, we're at Sting Fling. I closed Springtown and I closed the Peach Festival. So I'm out there doing that with her. But social media, Instagram, ways that these kids are going to see us and say, hey, the Republican Party is not my dad's party. It's kind of my party too. 25 years ago, I was a Republican before my dad. And I was more conservative than my father, and I've loved this party. I was 22, 23, 24 years old. How did they reach out to me? They asked me to get involved. And people said, get involved in your party. How do you get involved? Volunteer. I can guarantee you, if I get elected, you call my office, we'll find a place for you. You call Zan right now, she'll find a place for you. You can get involved. Get involved with your party, get involved with your community, get involved with your church, get involved. And if you do that, you're going to grow the party. Because everywhere you go, people are going to see a good, strong conservative man, a good, strong conservative woman, and they want to be a part of that. So that's how I would address that part of it. But volunteering. And then the last part is objectivity. This is where it comes back to the party. The franchise of the party. Republican Party of Texas does say that we should not get involved in contested races with Republicans. It's not that we can't have a view. She and I both can have a view of who we want to win. And we both can, pick and choose who we want to win on our ballot. But we should not openly support a single candidate over another Republican candidate. The reason is it is divisive. It will help separate the party. And we don't want to do it. We've got to grow our party. We've got to reach out to millennials. We've got to get stronger. And I think I can do that. So my name is Scott Utley. Please come out and vote for me.
And thanks to each one of you for taking time out of your day to listen to candidates and get involved in your community. And it's kind of just what we do, right? I'm Zan Prince. I'm your Republican chairman, and I'm here to say thank you for allowing me to serve you and to ask for your vote on March 6th to continue that. The primary responsibilities of the county chair are to make sure that we have regular meetings for the county executive committee, that we have elections, that we organize hundreds of volunteers to make sure that when you go to the polls, you have a place to vote, to organize conventions. And beyond that, it's all about registering voters and asking people to vote, training people to accommodate that. and then turning out people at elections. I want you to know that you've done all those things. Together, we've done all those things. I'm a facilitator to make sure that our party grows, and you're the people who work side by side to make sure that we have increased our voter registration base by 29%. When I took office, the Republican turnout was about 72%. In the top of the ticket for 2016, you voted 82% for President Donald Trump. 82%. You beat the statewide average by 7 percentage points. So not only did you increase the number of Republicans that voted, you increased the base too. It's my job to build on the success. So how do I encourage people to be involved? And that's done person to person in a very, very open forum. So I use traditional media, I use social media. Our meetings and activities are open to the public. They're advertised to the public. We register people all over the county at all these festivals, at schools, at churches, at businesses. We invite them to be a part of the cause because we are a whole. And when we don't have you doing your God-given part of the whole, then the whole is missing you. The whole is missing something. And we're stronger when all of us come together to make it work for the good of our cause. It's also important, we voted in partisan elections, but it's also important to make sure that we vote in city, school board, every election, because of course every election matters. The next question is about objectivity among competing Republican candidates. You know that I know that every vote counts. Well, every candidate counts too. I have an open door policy. I spend countless hours with people who are thinking about running for office, serving in office, from city hall, school board to presidential candidates. And every one of those people have access to things that are as mundane as where you go to get mailers, or where you might put out signs, or how you might get signed prices at a better price. So we do everything from telling them where they can go to run their campaigns to the most important part. And the most important part is I tell them to tell their story. I'm thinking that you, and I know I, want to hear why they should vote for you. That's what I tell them. Don't talk about your opponent. Talk about the 3 compelling reasons, the things that you're going to do for the citizens. The primary is a robust family discussion that deserves truth, respect, and civility as we move forward to November to continue to elect Republicans. We're blessed in Parker County. We're represented by Republicans in every single position from the White House to the courthouse. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your vote. I appreciate all that you do for our community and for our party. And I ask you to vote for me, Zan Prince, for County Chair on March 6th. Thank you.